He built a fallout shelter at home and took his wife inside to escape a nuclear attack. The moment they stepped in, a deafening explosion thundered outside. Mike quickly sealed the heavy steel door and activated the timer. Only after 35 years, once the radioactive fallout's half-life had passed, could they emerge? What they didn't know was that the massive blast had actually come from a plane crash, not a nuclear explosion. During their long confinement, the couple welcomed their first child, Adam. Fortunately, Mike had prepared well in advance, stockpiling enough supplies to last 35 years, so they wouldn't have to worry about food or necessities. Unfortunately, this child would spend the next few decades of his life underground. However, the shelter was well-equipped and highly functional. It had a continuous power supply system, all kinds of household appliances, and storage space comparable to a large supermarket, more than enough to meet his wife and child's daily needs. Mike kept himself busy too. He raised fish underground, grew plants, and even built an impressive library. After all, education starts young. From an early age, Mike taught Adam English and German, along with extensive theoretical knowledge and practical skills, while his mother focused on teaching him manners and the social graces necessary for polite society. Despite being completely cut off from the outside world, the family lived warmly and contentedly. Mike even gave Adam his treasured collection of baseball cards and all the stocks he owned. Time flew by, and the child was now 35 years old. That day, his parents were celebrating his birthday. Adam blew out the candles and silently made a wish. Suddenly, a violent tremor shook the shelter. Mike went to check and discovered the 35-year countdown had reached 0. The heavy door automatically opened, suggesting the outside threat might have passed. Mary was overwhelmed with emotion. They finally had the chance to return to the surface and see the sky and clouds they'd been separated from for so long. To ensure safety, Mike decided to scout ahead himself. He put on protective gear and went up alone to assess the situation. The once bustling residential area was now nothing but ruins. A drunk homeless man saw Mike and, thinking a deity had descended, fainted on the spot. Mike cautiously looked around and encountered a boy wearing women's clothing and a raggedly dressed beggar. Panicked, he immediately returned underground and told his wife and son everything he'd seen. Mike was convinced that nuclear radiation had caused human genetic mutations and repeatedly warned Mary never to leave the shelter. As he spoke, he planned to seal the door again. This time, however, Mary firmly objected. She refused to be trapped underground any longer and didn't want their 35-year-old son to spend his entire life never experiencing the real world. While they were arguing, Mike's heart condition suddenly flared up. While he was bedridden and unable to move, Mary quickly gave their son money and sent him out to buy large quantities of supplies. The shelter's food was nearly depleted. Adam took the baseball cards and stocks his father had given him and left the underground shelter via the elevator. When Adam first stepped into the outside world and saw humans other than his parents, he was incredibly excited. He rode a bus for the first time and arrived at the legendary supermarket. However, after 35 years, prices had increased tenfold, and his mother's money could barely buy anything. Adam had no choice but to return home and figure out another plan. But as evening fell, he couldn't find his way back. That is, until he came across a collectibles shop. Excitedly, he walked in, planning to sell the baseball cards his father had given him for cash.